Basically, a major news organization is policing some no-name schlub's internet content and threatening to reveal his identity if he transgresses their particular standards. That's completely nuts. I mean, Wolf Blitzer has basically put a horse's head in this guy's bed. And I don't know how this happened. CNN was like the world's most boring cable network just a month ago. Now it's behaving more and more nuttily each day. But this guy got the message. He understands that CNN is watching him. So that if he were to make another anti-CNN GIF, another anti-CNN tweet, then they would release the fact that he's got a $500 lien on his home for unpaid property taxes, or his car was seen last Tuesday night parked outside Madame Fifi's bondage parlor. This is a ridiculous way for a news organization to behave, but the threat of people like Chris, and the idea, by the way, of Chris Cuomo and other CNN anchors saying, oh, we're so relieved. At last, you know, there were physical threats to our safety. And at last, we're all relieved because now we've got the goods on this guy and we can sleep at night and journalists are free to walk the streets once more. Get lost, you creeps. The 5th anniversary of the Danish cartoons, I appeared on stage with 5 other people. Of those 5 other people I was on stage with in Copenhagen for the 5th anniversary of the Danish Mohammed cartoons, one was shot at point-blank range, the other had his event shot up, and 2 people were killed, another was forced out of public life entirely, and the 4th had her family's restaurant firebombed. Those are real threats against media figures that go on in Europe right now. The idea that reworking a joke that everyone knows is a joke is a threat to Chris Cuomo's safety is the most narcissistic, solipsistic act of navel-gazing by a profession that is already so self-obsessed, nobody who isn't in the media can stand the media.
We have 2 choices. We're either going to go to war or acquiesce. But there are 2 things that we can do in the interim that would be strategically risky but would have an effect. One would be to get the South Koreans to invite us to return the tactical nuclear weapons that we stationed there until 1991. That would get the attention of Pyongyang and of Beijing. And lastly, this is the last resort, you get the Japanese to announce they're going to go nuclear. That will get the immediate attention of the Chinese, who will have to decide which do they prefer, a divided Korean peninsula with a Klein state in the north, or a nuclear Japan. If we're not prepared to take those steps, nothing will happen, and North Korea will become a nuclear state.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
He will never be president of the United States.
Donald Trump will not become president.
He is not, Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States. Take it to the bank. Okay. I guarantee it.
All right.
And we continuously bash him.
He's not going to be the president. Don't worry about it.
Donald Trump is a here today, gone tomorrow candidate for president of the United States. He's not going to be president of the United States.
So when you stand and deliver that State of the Union address, in no part of your mind or brain can you imagine Donald Trump standing up one day and delivering a State of the Union address?
Well, I can imagine it in a Saturday night skit.
And then he became the nominee in May.
Mm-hmm. But I'm president and they're not. We won and they lost.
And honey, he ain't going nowhere. No. He ain't going nowhere. And listen, the word of the day is nacho.
Nacho.
Nacho, okay?
Nacho.
Listen, Hillary Clinton is not your president.
Oh, ain't that America? You and me. Ain't that America?
What are we celebrating on the 4th of July?
Our independence.
A little more specific.
It's the day that we overtook the South. And it's the day that, it's our independence. That's why we have the final.
From the South.
From the South, exactly.
So it was the victor of the Civil War?
Yes.
4th of July?
Yes.
The Declaration of Independence was signed by who?
I don't know.
Just name one person.
Abraham Lincoln? I don't know.
Sorry.
Not.
What year was that Declaration of
Was
Independence?
it 1964? 84?
1984.
84? I don't know.
No.
1864?
1860.
I don't know.
This country, no wonder this country's in trouble.
What do you know from funny, you